Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme movie.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Man who is experiencing egomania.
It's not even close to being one of the films of the year.
Very good, actually.
Marty Supreme was so f***ing good.
For everyone that watched the Marty Supreme movie, walked away motivated, confident, and inspired, you need to watch this video. The movie was never meant to inspire you. It was meant to warn you. Now, before we get to the actual warning part, let's explain why people believe this movie is inspirational and why they walk out of the theater, like I just said, confident and motivated to go and chase their own dreams, right? On the surface, Marty Supreme looks like the ultimate confidence story. Marty doesn't really come from anything special. He's from New York, right? Working an honest job at his uncle's shoemaking business and is trying to make it big at table tennis, right? Table tennis scene at this time in America isn't doing so well, right? You could say it's in a growth period, right? With only 2 people in the actual American Table Tennis Association, he wants to grow it. He wants to make the sport popular. He wants to be the poster boy for table tennis in America. And in order for Mike to do this, he's eyeing the British Open. But to actually travel to Britain from New York, you need this thing called money. And the way Mike actually acquired the money to travel to Britain for the British Open was by robbing his uncle's company. Now let me tell you this. The money that he actually took, he believed he was owed. In which, to a good argument, he was. He wasn't sneaking. He didn't hesitate. He takes the money, holding his co-worker at gunpoint, right? And he says to the co-worker, I was promoted to manager and I don't even like this job. You want everything in your power to get me out of this job. Give me the money. He takes the money. And I can tell you now, before he actually took the money, he takes the money, but in his mind, it was already his. Marty now travels to Britain, arrives to the British Open hotel, and he doesn't really like the stay of his hotel. Now, most people might ask for a room upgrade, might just complain, or they might get compensation potentially on their hotel and their living space. You'll never guess what Marty does. He upgrades his hotel, not because he needs to. No, he has a bed to lay his head on. He has a good accommodation where he will be safe and ready to play his games. He upgrades to the Ritz, not any hotel, to the Ritz hotel, where the other officials are actually staying, right? He does it not because he needs to, but because he believes he belongs there. This same confidence follows Marty when he's in the Ritz. He's getting interviewed now, and then, obviously they're writing down his answers, and the interviewers see a famous actress that goes by the name of Kay Stone pass. Now Marty catches on, and Marty's like, okay, Kay Stone. He goes up to his room after the interview, and he calls Kay Stone on his hotel line. Again, just even getting into contact with somebody as famous as that showed his confidence, right? He believed, he could romance her, forget her husband, right? I mean, he wants to romance her, he wants to, gain her trust, and you'll see as to why that's important, throughout this video. But he does that, and he invites her to a game, right? He invites her to a game and she comes to watch. Then that leads up to the rest of the story. But again, Marty's confidence and his betting on himself mentality shows up as he is given an offer to play for the Harlem Globetrotters during the tournament. So he plays against, forgive me, I forgot his name. I'm going to put it up on the screen now, but he plays against this guy, right? Which they have a great match, they put on the show. Marty's like, let's have some fun, and they do, right? The guy has connections, and he also, I believe, works for the Harlem Globetrotters at halftime and offers Marty a job. Marty says no. For most people, that is a dream. Marty rejects it. He straight up rejects it. Why, you ask? Because he refuses to see himself as a sideshow. He doesn't believe himself to be the halftime show or to just be another act for the main act. No. He believes he's destined for more. He believes he's destined to be the main attraction. Now, that rejection actually leads up to another door, Rockwell. Interestingly enough, Rockwell is the husband to our previously mentioned Kay Stone. Now, Rockwell, an honest businessman. Well, are many businessmen honest? He has real money, he has real influence, and The reason why he did this is because Marty has enough confidence to pay for the table that Rockwell, his associates, and his wife Kay are sitting at, attracting Rockwell to his table, convincing him to watch him play table tennis. After doing this, right, Rockwell is invested into table tennis. He's interested. And now after the British Open, sadly lost to Kota in the finals, Rockwell offers him an opportunity. He offers him an opportunity to, first of all, he's going to pay for his flight to the Japan Table Tennis Open. He's going to give him free accommodation, right, while he's there. The only thing Rockwell wants him to do is lose to Kota on purpose. Now, obviously, integrity of your sport, when you're an athlete at your highest level, it doesn't look great, but I can tell you this. If Marty loses, it looks bad on him. Marty rejects Rockwell's offer, and he loses the money he needs for Japan. But guess what? His resilience never disappears. There are two key scenes for me that absolutely sell Marty's resilience. The first is the bowling alley hustle with Tyler LeCrea's character, right? I love this scene because Marty Miles and Tyler LeCrea play a perfect game of Tyler LeCrea's character is losing. He needs a way to go back home. You know, everyone there at their table tennis tables are trying to rally up, you know, help him gain the money back. And they lose to Marty Miles' character. He goes home. And cut to the next scene. Marty Miles and Tyler LeCrea are in the car together, right? They do this though by lying, cheating, manipulating, right? And when those same guys come back for revenge, Marty doesn't freeze, he doesn't panic, he sprays their faces with oil and escapes. They ignite on fire. No morals, no hesitation, just survival. The second scene for me is his match against Kota in Japan, right? This is the real match, the one that matters. Not the initial one that Rockwell originally put together where he was set to lose to Kota, and upon him actually losing, he actually had to kiss a pig, which he didn't notice. He begged for a rematch. He said to Kota, I will not go until let's play for real, you know, let's actually play seriously. Marty, when he goes to Japan, struggles to get into the tournament. Every door feels closed, every obstacle stacked against him, but he's obsessed with one thing: redemption. He wants to prove that the loss to Kota doesn't define him, right? He wants to prove not only to himself, but to people watching at home, to the people watching even in the crowd when he was playing, and especially to Rockwell. And in the end, he beats him. He defeats the loss that has been haunting him since the British Open. And this is where people clap. This is where they feel inspired, but they're missing the real message. Let me tell you right now, confidence and resilience are not the most important traits in this movie. The real lesson is about what Marty doesn't have: humility and reason. Marty lacks both, and the movie makes sure you see it. Look at how he treats people. He manipulates Keystone, right? He romances her recklessly. He sleeps with Rachel, a married woman. He gets her pregnant and doesn't even care about the consequences. And when he first saw the baby, he asked, no, that baby can't be mine. He steals from people close to him, even someone he considers to be his business partner. He manipulates him into saying Rachel, the woman he got pregnant, married woman might I add, should stay at his house because that is his sister. Saying the empty room that you have that was your brother's, let her stay. No one is using the room, right? He steals from people close to him, promising to pay them back. Again, we see this with Tyler LeCrea's character. We didn't even pay him back. They even give him a cut of the money. He took that money and went straight to Japan with it, right? He constantly burns bridges with those who support him. Marty doesn't value people, he uses them. He sees them as their toys, right? The only thing Marty values is his end goal, and is his selfishness. His selfishness of pursuit of this goal that he wanted to become the figurehead of table tennis, right? He has so much ego, and there's great overconfidence, but there's too much confidence to the point where you are manipulating people, using them for your own gain, right? Is greed, right? His ego finally catches up to him, right? And the first fall can be seen with the Harlem Globetrotters. Now, after Marty actually rejects both the original Harlem Globetrotters offer and Rockwell's offer, right? After losing the British Open, he then goes back to the Harlem Globetrotters offer, right? He's forced to return to the very opportunity he rejected, right? He was too overconfident. Don't get me wrong, Rockwell's offer came, but he rejected that too. He's betting on himself, but for how long can you bet on yourself and miss these opportunities that are salivating right in front of you and they want you to take them? He doesn't. He goes back to the Harlem Globetrotters. The thing he once thought was beneath him. Now, it's all he has. And what does it cost him? He's reduced to being nothing more than a halftime act. Not the main attraction, not the star, but simply a monkey at a zoo. Someone to go and perform tricks. This is the first time his ego punishes him, but it won't be the last. Now the second, and in my opinion, his most grave mistake was rejecting Rockwell's offer after failing to secure the funds for Japan, right? After racking up a $1,500 debt from his leisurely trip in London, right? Marty has no options left. So he goes back to Kay. He already tried once sleeping with her on set and stealing the necklace from her neck, only to find out it was a fake. Absolute joker, right? This time, Kay has a play, right? Marty begs for another chance. She doesn't buy his apology, but she gives him a ticket. Inside the ticket is a note telling him to meet her at the park at midnight. They meet. Kay gives him a real necklace, the one Rockwell usually gives her on their wedding anniversary, right? 25 years to be exact, with this being the 25th necklace. But Marty wants more, and they romance in the park. They romance in the park, by the way. They romance in the park in the middle of the night where they are being patrolled. They eventually, thankfully, they get caught. Now, instead of being arrested, they give the officers the necklace. Now, Kay agrees to give Marty another one and tells him to wait downstairs outside of her apartment. But Marty can't wait. He goes inside and finds Kay in tears upstairs. That's when he hits rock bottom. As Marty is going downstairs, he sees the man who he once rejected his offer from. Rockwell. He begs Rockwell for the offer back. He gets on his knees and Rockwell agrees to one condition. He tells Marty to go to his office, hand him the table tennis bat with the Rockwell logo on it. Rockwell then proceeds Marty to tell him to take down his pants and to spank him with the very bat he grabbed from the office until he was satisfied. Mind you, this was done in front of his friends and business associates. This was pure humiliation. The smart thing to do, and I think the normal thing to do, would be to walk away in this situation, to find another path, concede. Marty doesn't. Why? Because after rejecting the offer that he originally had, betting on himself too much, he traps himself in a corner in which he's so focused on his goal, he loses respect of reality, he loses humility, right? He actually loses sense of reality, in my opinion, because how could you let a grown man do this to you? It doesn't matter what money he's offering you, it doesn't matter how famous he is, it doesn't matter what opportunity you get to. His ego, greed, and obsession with winning have left him with no dignity left to protect at the end of the movie, especially in this scene. For me personally, that scene as well is almost like revenge for Rockwell. Rockwell doesn't know the relationship between Kay and Marty, but guess what? He gets his revenge, showing that Marty's actions were catching up to him and they were going to catch up to him when he went to Japan. Now, Marty finally goes to Japan, but he doesn't enter the tournament because he can't. He speaks to the official that he was being rude to in Britain, and he says, "No, Marty, you're not going to join the tournament." As I said before, he beats Kota, but he doesn't win a title, right? He doesn't have any cheers except from the veterans. No disrespect to the veterans, but the crowd is silent. Rockwell is disappointed that he didn't go through the original plan. There's no applause. It is dead silent. Everything Marty humiliated himself for meant nothing. This moment is symbolic. Marty's overconfidence and his ego cost him everything. If Marty now had accepted the original offer earlier, He could have lost to Kurt again. But guess what? That would have created an underdog narrative, because we all know that Marty, if Kurt was number one, Marty was number two, because that was perfect tournament that Marty almost played, right? Obviously losing to Kurt at the end. He could have redeemed himself in the finals, right? His confidence would have carried him for sure. Instead, his overconfidence destroyed his leverage. The ending of the movie actually is perfect. And if you didn't like the ending, listen closely, because this is the real ending. Marty doesn't get glory. He doesn't get a title. He gets fatherhood, a responsibility he never wanted. This was never rags to riches story. It was never meant to inspire you. It was a warning. If you don't learn humility, if you don't learn to reason, if you continue to chase ambition, right, without those two characteristics, if you don't chase your ambitions and dreams, right, with those two traits, you don't only lose opportunities, you lose people, you lose dignity, and eventually you lose everything around you. And trust me, you really don't want to learn that lesson the same way Marty did.